Alex Goren, Chairman of the Board, Member of the Boards, and honored guests. My name is Professor Shlomi Dolev, Dean, Faculty of Natural Sciences, and I'm thrilled to be standing here for the Cornerstone-Laying Ceremony of the Lokey Chemistry Building at Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. It is a great honor to celebrate this momentous occasion in the presence of a great man, an advocate of higher education, a firm believer in the state of Israel, and a most generous philanthropist. Lorry Lokey, we look forward to innovating a learning environment which will propel our students and researchers to further advanced science. The Lorry Lokey Chemistry Building will be built right behind me on the main university campus. This significantly strategic location, a sort of hub amongst the wide array of science disciplines, speaks volume about the university's deep commitment to sciences. The building will be home of faculty members, wet labs, service room, and chemistry department offices, and so much more. The building design is meant to create an environment that inspires active learning and academic achievement while promoting innovation. שהחיינו וקיימנו לזמן הזה. והגיענו לזמן הזה. I would like to call Professor Rivka Karmi, President of Ben-Gurion University, to say a few words.
Thank you, Shlomi. Good afternoon, everybody, faculty, students, dear members of the chemistry department, governors, guests. We are gathered here on a very, very happy occasion. We were talking about the chemistry building for quite a while, even before you came on board. And we thought that this excellent department actually deserves a good place to be able to really forge its potential for research and teaching. About 5 years or so, we had to decide about doing some kind of renovations to enable those young faculty that were coming at the time. And we said, why are we going to invest in renovations as we are anticipating, building a building? So hopefully we made this decision to renovate because it took another 5 years or so to get to this occasion. So I'm very happy that eventually we're here. And it is all thanks to Lorry Lokey. And before anything, I want to thank you very much, Lorry. With your permission, I want to read from the writings, because I don't want to miss anything. These very distinguished crowds, I don't think know a lot about you, and I think they should.
I don't know much about you.
All right, so maybe you will find out some new things about you. Anyway, just tell me if I was, close to the truth. Anyway, Lorry Lokey was born this is not, you can find it everywhere. So I'll say that you were born in 1927, but he is young in spirit. Don't look at the way he is walking. This is just something, that is going to disappear quite soon. But otherwise, he's much, much earlier than his official birth date. Well, he was born in Portland, Oregon. He earned a degree in journalism from Stanford University in 1949. And I'm saying it because before graduation, he already fought in World War II and worked as an editor of Pacific Stars and Stripes, a publication in Tokyo. In 1961, and I'm just jumping a couple of years, in 1961, he founded Business Wire, a commercial news distributor with only one part-time employee and 7 clients. I can't even think about, how somebody would dare doing something like that, but you did. So from its 1961 start in San Francisco, Lorry guided the company's growth throughout the United States and around the world, served as a company president until 2003, and a CEO until 2005, and then in 2006, the company was sold to not other than Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. And you know, this guy really, I mean, looks very much into what he's buying. So, you know, if it wouldn't be something really great, he wouldn't do it, right?
Right.
Lorry, since then, and even before, has been widely recognized for his achievements in the field of journalism, as well, and now mostly, for his civic and philanthropic endeavors. And this is something that I really want to read very carefully because, you know, this is something that I was so much impressed from the very first moment that I got to know you, Lorry. Lorry has a distinguished record of community service focusing on educational institutions. Lorry has been named one of the U.S. top givers by the Chronicle of Philanthropy. Through his philanthropic organization, the Lokey Supporting Foundation, Lorry has made major donations to higher education. Significant grants, and I mean significant, have been made to Stanford University School of Medicine, University of Oregon, Mills College, Santa Clara University, Portland State University, the Technion, Weizmann, Tel Aviv University, and Leo Beck School in Haifa, Israel, and I think I missed some. But you know, it is pretty impressive. Lorry serves as a trustee on numerous boards, including the University of Oregon Foundation, Santa Clara University, and San Francisco Opera Association. In 2008, Lorry has received an honorary doctorate, first one here in Israel, from the Weizmann Institute. Lorry has given most of his money away to education because, as he says again and again, without the education he received growing up, and without his education at Stanford University, this son of middle-class Jews would have never gotten anywhere. This is very impressive, and I so much thank you and Joanne for joining us today to the laying cornerstone for the Lorry Lokey Chemistry Building. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Karmi. I would like to call Professor Gabriel Lemkov, Head of the Department of Chemistry, to speak on behalf of the department.
Professor Rivka Karmi, President of the Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. Professor Shlomi Dolev, Dean of the Faculty of Natural Sciences. Mr. Alex Goren, Chairman of the Board. Distinguished members of the Board of Governors, chemistry faculty members, colleagues, students, and most especially, of course, Mr. Lorry Lokey. We are here today witnessing an extraordinary moment in the history of the chemistry department at BGU. The laying of a cornerstone for a building that will bring together the whole chemistry team into one state-of-the-art facility. When things are good in life or in a relationship, we say that there's good chemistry. But you may ask, what is chemistry? Maybe not all of you know. Chemistry is the study of matter and energy and the interactions between them. This is not a very useful definition, maybe. It covers more or less everything. But I will tell you something else. Chemistry is cooking. Chemistry is building. Chemistry is making new stuff. Thinking about molecules and understanding the world around us. About creating something new. I remember as an undergraduate student being in a chemistry meeting once where the famous British chemist Peter Atkins gave a lecture about entropy. He started his talk by saying these powerful words that remain engraved in my memory. Just as a wine taster can find joy in sipping an aliquot of worthy Cabernet Sauvignon, just like an artist can become entranced by gazing at an abstract art painting for hours, so can a chemist look at the world around him and admire its enormous beauty by understanding the principles that govern it. Let me give you one example. Chlorine is a poisonous gas. It was used in World War I in the War of the Trenches. If it touches your skin, it will make you blister. The damage it can cause is quite atrocious. Sodium is a powerful metal that will violently react with water, releasing hydrogen and heat, naturally causing big explosions. However, when these two perilous elements will react with each other, they make sodium chloride. It's regular table salt, and this is an ingredient essential to life. to understand how we can make different elements combine with one another to become new useful materials is part of what chemistry is about. Think if the politicians of the world could learn how to persuade two opposing groups to get together and collaborate towards a mutually beneficial goal, like we chemists do with the elements, it will probably solve many of the problems that we have in this part of the globe. The advent of the new millennium was accompanied by the introduction of serious challenges that mankind in general, and scientists in particular, need to confront. Dwindling energy resources, uncertain petroleum reserves, pollution, the requirement for stronger, cheaper, and lighter materials, ongoing climate change, increasing populations, leading to low resources in food and potable water, as well as disease in aging society due to higher longevity, perilous rise of bacterial resistance to antibiotics. All of these demand new approaches to tackle these issues. It is my strong belief that these challenges, which seem insurmountable, will be ultimately solved by creative chemists making new compounds by new methodologies. Chemists have the strong background needed to tackle these problems at their focal point, understanding the molecular basis and how they relate to the real world. But you should know that this is actually the main reason why many of the most famous biologists, physicists, engineers, and doctors started their basic training as chemists. I'll give you just one short example. E.O. Wilson is a very famous ant researcher and professor of biology at Harvard. He was fascinated by ant colonies and how they appear to behave as a single entity. He studied their behavior for many years with moderate success, until the head of the department, Nobel laureate James Watson, who also solved the DNA structure, told him that the only real way to understand ant behavior and the way they work together is to understand their chemistry. Of course, Watson was a biologist. Wilson was a biologist. He didn't like this anymore. He had many heated discussions with Watson about this. At the end, reluctantly, he started to study their chemistry, and this is what led them to finally understand how ants communicate. Now we know that everything that ants do together comes down to chemical signaling, molecules. Chemistry, as the science of change, is a broad field with important connections to virtually every other scientific discipline. Chemistry is the science that breaches physics and biology, all the more so today. For this reason, chemistry is called essential science, and quite fittingly, the Lorry Lokey Building of Chemistry will bridge the life science and the physics building, certainly a presage for success. Research at the Department of Chemistry at Ben-Gurion University reflects both the breadth and depth of the chemical sciences, spanning disciplines such as low-temperature quantum physics, nanoscience, biological physics, chemical biology, as well as the classical fields of organic, inorganic, and physical chemistry. We have 3 young scientists in the department that have received the ERC Young Researcher European Grant, one of the most prestigious awards, making our department one of the most successful departments in Israel in this regard. Department faculty members received many other awards: the Tetrahedron Young Investigator Prize, the Teva Prize, the Alon Fellowship, the Krill Prize, Toronto Prize. They are also increasingly successful in obtaining funding for many of the major Israeli and international funding agencies: ISF, BSF, GIF, Human Frontier Science Program, and various other European FP7 programs. The quantity and quality of the scientific papers being written by the department members during the past few years certainly indicates a bright future ahead. To put this into objective numbers, the Samuel Neiman Institute for Advanced Studies in Science and Technology reported that our department improved more than 75% in the citations per publication index during the period 2009 to 2013, placing BGU Chemistry at the top of all the chemistry departments in this category in Israel. This is the most important parameter to determine the quality of the publications and a strong indication that we are on the right path towards becoming a recognized leader in the chemistry community. We also care deeply to strengthen and expand our ties with the surrounding community. New collaborative programs with the chemical industry around the Negev region, and the recent Marie Curie academic chemistry program for outstanding high school students are proof that our faculty does not wish to be isolated in an academic ivory tower. But we are open towards our community and towards our ultimate goal to spread the passion of science and chemistry to the younger generation. The Marie Curie program is currently running in its first year with 32 outstanding high school pupils carefully selected by their respective school principals from Beersheba, Dimona, Kiryat Gat, and Yerucham. This is the whole Negev region. The program is supported by the city of Beersheba, Keren Rashi, and Adama, previously known as Machteshi Magan Industries, and we are certain that these seeds that we're planting today will flourish to become the leading chemists and scientists of the future in Israel. There are no ways to express the many ways that the Lorry Lokey building will help our department become one of the forefront leaders of chemistry in Israel and worldwide. Modern infrastructure, the ability to recruit more students and to expand the number of faculty members, but most importantly, the synergy that will emerge from the simple fact that the whole department will be under a single roof. I can already feel the energy. This is the slogan of it. So the Lorry Lokey Chemistry Building will be the most modern and green chemistry building in Israel, equipped with the latest energy-saving systems and all the necessary infrastructure to carry out the most advanced research. I expect that delegations of chemists around the world will come to BGU to see the Lorry Lokey building and to pursue new collaborations. Dear Mr. Lokey, I can assure you that we will make you proud for your investment in chemistry at BGU. Many good things will come out of this endeavor. We are starting today, and we will work very hard to make the Lorry Lokey Chemistry Building at BGU one of the primary scientific research centers in Israel. Finally, I would also like to thank everyone who helped make this happen, either directly or behind the scenes. I know that many people were involved. In the name of the chemistry department, we would like to say thank you, and especially to Professor Rivka Karmi, who made the creation of the new chemistry building one of her top priorities. We are overjoyed and cannot wait to start working in the new labs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabi. We are lucky to be scientists, to understand more about nature, and then generation can use our knowledge and advance all the disciplines around us, all our quality of life, and all this become possible by people that see that this is important, people like you. And I would like to invite you, please, to the podium to give your speech.
I'm going to tell you a little story that will make you say, oh my God, and then we'll end up with a chuckle. But many years ago, I asked a friend what he thought of Tel Aviv and Ben-Gurion universities. And his answer was, they're nothing. Weizmann and Technion, they're it. Oh, well, 4 years ago, we decided to look at Weizmann and Tel Aviv. And I tell you, there was nothing here. Look, there's nothing here. It's a lot of nothing. And here we are 2 years ago, and again now, there's more nothing than ever before. Both Joanne and I, from day one 4 years ago, we're very impressed with both of these campuses. And my objective in following my new career of investing, I don't give money away. That's a waste. I invest. And I invest in places like Ben-Gurion and Weizmann and Technion and I almost said Las Vegas, Tel Aviv. I invest because I feel there is a huge, huge future not yet realized in Israel. Israel, and to be selfish, Israel is our first line of defense. It might even be our last line. It's tremendously important that the country continue to develop great minds and great institutions. And it's tremendously important to me to see the money go to good use. Now, the funny thing happened in Rivka's office. Your office is up here somewhere, isn't it? Yeah, oh, here. So we looked out this window. Okay. So we're here 4 years ago. And I sort of, in fact, said, what do you need? And she pointed out the window to this crane. And she says, you know, we need a new chemistry building. And if that crane goes away, it's going to cost zillions of dollars to get it back and rebuild it. Well, being Jewish, I'm naturally not going to waste any money. So I said, you got the chemistry building, keep the crane here. So this is, of necessity, filling a need for a great chemistry building and keeping the crane. I can't emphasize enough, but to continue on this investing tangent, that all of you here are here because you're investors too. You might think you're giving, but you're building something better every time you put $1 out. And I hope you're telling your heirs and your children the same thing, to get in line and follow after you. Education is, in my book, is number one, even ahead of health, as important as health is because of awful things like ALS and cancer. Education is life. It's the beginning of life. And what education accomplishes in a person determines that person's future. I hope that we see the day when we have 100% high school graduation and 50 and 60% of those high school students go to college and go on for masters and PhDs. Because out of that, not everyone will be a whiz, but out of that group, we will have a better world because of the minds that are guiding it. This university is a very important asset to Israel. Israel is gifted with a multitude of fine educational institutions, far more than you would expect in a place where only 8 million people live. You go to a state like Massachusetts, which is nothing but colleges. I feel that Israel has Massachusetts beat. And outside of Massachusetts, there ain't much more. You got Stanford, and there's a place across in Berkeley. I can't remember the name. But Israel is gifted with wonderful institutions, of which Ben-Gurion is a big part of the picture. I thank you all for all the good work you do for the university. You're not wasting your time, and you're making a good investment while enjoying what you're doing. Keep with it, and thank you.
Without any further ado, I would like to ask Mr. Lokey and Professor Carmi to please lead the traditional cornerstone laying ceremony.